Hello, everyone. Welcome. I'm Leonardo Rodrigues, Sales Manager and Diversity and Inclusion Ambassador here at the Chambers and Partners in London. Today, we have the pleasure of speaking with Luciano de Souza, partner at Cescon Barrieu in São Paulo, Brazil. As we celebrate LGBT Pride Month, we are excited to speak about Luciano's inspiring career as a lawyer, to explore Cescon Barrieu initiatives in supporting LGBT plus community, and to discuss the challenge in promoting diversity and inclusion within the legal sector. So thank you for joining us today, Luciano. Do you want to take the moment to introduce yourself?
Thank you so much, Leonardo, for having me here. It's a pleasure to be part of this Pride Month with you at Chambers. So let me introduce myself a little bit. I'm partner at Cescon Barrieu. Cescon Barrieu, it's a full-service law firm in Brazil, one of the biggest law firms. We are located in São Paulo, in Rio, in Belo Horizonte, Salvador, Brasilia, and recently we opened up an office in Toronto. We have 67 partners with around 300 lawyers, with 200 collaborators. So we are around 600 people working with us here at Cescon. And I joined this firm in 2012 as a competition senior associate. Because I had just returned from Georgetown at that time, I migrated right away from competition to compliance practice, and I became a partner in 2018 in our law firm. So it's a pleasure to be here and to talk with you about our Pride Month.
Thanks for the introduction to speak a little bit about Cescon Barrieu. Also, can you share with us a little bit about your journey to become a lawyer? So let's move like one step before and share with us a little bit and how do you choose to become a lawyer?
Wow, it's a trick question because my first, here in Brazil, we have a test to get into the university. So my first test was not to be a lawyer, was to be a doctor. But I realized that I had a cousin at that time.
Oh, really?
Yes, and he invited me. He was a doctor, just come out from the university, and he said, you like to talk, you like to interact with people. So I don't think be a doctor is your career. I think you have to choose anything just to talk with people. And he said, maybe I think that being a lawyer will be your goal. And I think myself and I dropped the doctor career and I joined law school and I'm here doing compliance, talking with people, trying to convey the idea that being a lawyer is not that boring that sometimes people it is.
That's amazing. That's an amazing story. And moving a little bit to speak about supporting initiatives. We know that it's always inspired to hear about initiatives that support LGBT plus community. Mm-hmm. Can you tell us about Cescon's efforts to support LGBT plus community? And also, do you have anything special in your agenda planned for the Pride Month?
Wow, it's actually thank you for this question. Yes, we have here at Cescon supporting for LGBT community. I think that I can divide in internal activities and external activities. When we're looking at internal activities, actually we have an equity committee. So there we have not only LGBT, we have women, racial issues, people with disabilities, and recently we added religions freedom discussion. So usually those are kind of open public space to discuss these topics. When we are talking about LGBT, we have those discussion circles. So we get together once a month or twice a month to discuss topics, to discuss our difficulties, some challenge that sometimes we have, or some discussion out of the media. So it's a moment for empower people. I think it's really interesting. We also have a moment, it happens each 3 months. It's not so regular, depending on the movie. We have a kind of cine pipoca. It's a kind of, to take your popcorn to see a movie, to watch a movie. We had it here internally. So we have a specific movie with LGBT topic. So we had a moment for everyone to watch it. And right after it, we have a moment to discuss. So what you're feeling about this movie, what the right behind this movie. So it's been really interesting, Leonardo, and I invite you to come here when you are in Brazil just to join us in this discussion because it's been really, really interesting. This is what we do internally. When we go in an external part of our initiatives, I think that I can mention 4 basic projects that we are involved in. So first of all is the Embrace Initiative. Embrace Initiative is focused on trans people. So it is the idea behind it is to provide trans people training and put them to interact with professionals in several activities. So we are not alone in this project. We have a partnership with Goldman Sachs. We have EF with us. Cogna is a education group in Brazil. So we are together to provide those community this kind of guidance. We have also for trans people, Potência Trans is another project that we are getting to this. Is more related to provide scholarship for English courses. So we know that trans is one of the most vulnerable community inside the LGBT people. So we try to give them more support, giving them a scholarship to study English, to study technical course. So the idea is to give them in this project, to give them this kind of support. The third one is also related to trans people, but there is more related to assist them in changing their names and gender, to get the name and gender rectification. So in the last 1 year, we assisted around 25 trans people in this proceeding that is very sensitive in Brazil, as you may be aware. So we help them in this kind of proceeding. And finally, it's a citizenship, Cescon Barrieu citizenship. It's broader, it's for LGBT community. The idea is to give them orientation about the basic rights. This is my Joy and Pride project in our law firm. I really like it. I think that we know that LGBT people, when they are in socioeconomic vulnerability, sometimes, they left their homes because of their parents, and they are just lost regarding their rights. So the idea of this project is to assist them, giving them the basic rights. We are not talking about sophisticated rights. We are talking about basic, so about the civil rights, about the labor rights. So it has been really interesting, this kind of approach. I think that you also asked me about Pride Month. So we have actually our LGBT committee in Cescon Barrieu. We have several activities during the year, but especially during the Pride Month, we have similar activities as we have with the movies, we have with books. So this year we're gonna have a book with the topic will be LGBT challenges. So there is a large group inside the Cescon Barrieu reading this book, and we have a specific day just to discuss. Though this will get the started Pride Month in Cescon Barrieu, and the last activity will be one of our partners. Actually one of the institutions that have a partnership with Cescon, Casa they will come to Cescon to teach us about LGBT words. What does it mean? What means LGBT, APN, QIAPN plus means? So I think it's gonna be a kind of a lecture just to provide information. What's a challenge? What does it mean? What media wants to say when they are talking about gender identification? identity, actually. So the idea is to give information to those people. This is what we plan for the Pride Month for this year.
Wow, fantastic. It's very good to know about like the initiative you have like out of the firm, but also the initiatives and the program you have planned for the Pride Month. So thank you so much for sharing. Can I ask you just a question regarding this?
Sure.
What was like one of the movies that you guys watched together?
Actually, as we don't have a lot of time to do this, the last movie was about some piece of movies related to drag queens world. So I can get this name, but I think it was some documentary about drag queens. So why they started, how they developed their views. So the idea was to discover the drag queens. This is the last one. It was really great because we got some movies from I forgot the name. Priscilla, Queens of the Desert, was the first. Priscilla,
the Queen of the Desert.
The Queen of the Desert was the first 5 minutes just to show their in action. But right after this, there is a specific documentary, really, really rich in Brazil, talking about the life of Brazilian drag queens. So we get this, and after this, we discuss it. It was really interesting because at the beginning, most of the people was just, okay, drag queens are kind of being dressed as a woman, but there is a philosophy behind it. There is a fight behind this. And it was really interesting how to see people discover this kind of reality.
That's amazing to know. Like when we finish the interview, I'm gonna get some ideas and some names from you, so I can watch in my house.
Sure,
Very good.
yeah.
So we spoke about like activities, but now I would like to explore with you like something within the firm. We know that creating an inclusive work environment is crucial for any organization. So, as a partner, what strategies do you consider most effective in promoting this kind of environment and promoting a more inclusive environment?
There are a lot of ways and strategies to do this. But I believe that three topics must be observed and must be followed. First of all, to have an open discuss environment where you can really open and we can really discuss it. What we have seen is that when you have it, you somehow empower people, not only internally, but you give them kind of source and basis to be more empowered. I mean, outside, even in their personal life. So we know that law firms are not detached from the real life, but once they really trust that internally they will find their place to talk about their challenges, this make life outside better. At least they can be stronger to be there. The other thing is, of course, to respect the difference. A legal environment must respect difference. There is no more room for kind of discrimination that we had before. We really need to make sure that differences are respected. And in this regard, I think that the third point that makes an environment more welcoming for LGBT people is just to make sure that we're gonna have the right reaction if something happens. So of course we fight and do our best to not have any discrimination inside the office. But if it happens, the reaction will be there. So I think that if you guarantee this kind of pillars, I think that you create, it's a good strategy, at least to beginning to create a good welcoming work environment, because at least you can be sure, you can be comfortable that you're gonna have here a very welcome and very safe place to work and to grow professionally.
I agree with you. So thank you for sharing this. So we spoke about initiatives, we spoke about like work environment. Now, if you feel comfortable, we know like personal experience can be very powerful. Do you feel comfortable to share with us like a personal experience where you
Sure.
faced maybe discrimination due to sexual orientation, and how did you deal with it?
Leonardo, I think it's a really interesting question, and I feel totally comfortable to speak about this because directly I have never faced any kind of real discrimination, at least not that kind of discrimination and hard discrimination that we see. Maybe I think that I have a kind of more heteronormative posture. We know that it's not a target for this kind of people, for these people that discriminate LGBT. So maybe I was thinking about this a while ago, and I think that maybe this is the reason. Maybe I'm in a safe side, but we know that sometimes it happens, and I never saw this kind of reaction or this kind of an attitude here in Cescon. On the opposite, I think that I can tell you that once I was here and I was not a partner, I was with a senior partner of the law firm, and we were receiving someone. I will not say the proposal, but someone was here at the office, and suddenly Leonardo he started blame the LGBT community. This guy was, all sort of discrimination words that you can imagine. He said, but my senior partner immediately he reacted and said, I can agree with this. This is not true. I can agree with this, and we do not agree with this kind of discrimination. I felt very welcomed at that time because, of course, he was not talking about me. It was not direct to me. He not said, "Oh, I don't like you," but he was talking about the community I'm part of. And my partner, my senior partner, just came and stand by me. I mean, I understand in this way, and it is really good when it's happened. So that's the reason why, in your previous question, when you asked what the strategy to have a welcome work environment, I think that being there when it's necessary is one of the best thing to do for having a good work environment. So that's what we are fighting here in Cescon, not only in Cescon, but in Cescon Barrieu, but also whatever we are, if there is any kind of discrimination we stand for, we said, no, it's not, we cannot do it this way. So I think that's my personal view that I can share to you.
Thank you so much for sharing this. And do you know, like we know, like this, a lot of young professionals they look up to leaders like yourself for guidance. So when we share like personal experience, we share with people also like a way for them to look up and see, you know what, maybe if I work for this company, I'm gonna feel safe there. Mm-hmm. So taking this as an example, what advice would you give to young LGBT people considering to pursue a career as a lawyer?
I cannot be more direct than dedicate yourself, study, be the best that you can, but of course, pay attention, be transparent about your personal life. It's not worth molding yourself to fit somewhere. Over the years, it hurts more than helps. So when you are looking for a job, looking for a place to grow professionally, please go after safe work environment. This is what I can say. So be prepared, be a good student, be a good person, and try to be yourself, be honest to yourself. I have many friends that try to mold themselves just to fit to some place, and it's not good. In the end of the day, it's not good for health to be like this.
No, it's not. I personally I had experience to work in places that I didn't feel that it was inclusive, And here, the chambers, since day one, I never had to explain myself. I feel that it's a safe place for me since like the first interview I had at chambers, and it feels nice because we come as a whole. We don't have I don't have to come only a part of me, but I bring like the whole myself to work, and that makes a lot of difference for me professionally as well. So thank you for sharing that with us as well. And I'll look into the future now. How do
Mhm.
you think that Cescon Barrier, but also other law firms, they can continue to support the most vulnerable LGBT plus population? And if you have learned lessons in recent years about projects working for those firms.
Well, looking ahead. So I've been into this market for over 20 years, Leonardo, and I really I can testify that acceptance and is clear. It's getting bigger. However, it's just the beginning. It's just the first movement. I like that comparison that the ship began to move direction slowly every day, counting on my contribution, count on your contribution, but it's still going. It's a process. It's not ready yet. So I think that we start moving to the right direction, but we must keep doing something. We cannot say, it's ready, it's okay, and just drop it and let's do our other thing. No, we cannot do this. In this citizenship project that I mentioned to you, the idea of this project is not to give advice from our office. Actually, the idea is we will have one institution in each city that we have office. So in São Paulo, we have a partnership with Casa So once a month, a group of lawyers go to this place and start talking to the people. So we spend the whole day there. It's really, really interesting because we get our professionals out of the comfort of our law firm. We have here the best skills and best tools that we need. So I take these people out from here, and we go there, face the reality. So when we see that we have a lot to help. We can use our profession to do this. So what I want to mean with this is there is in our safe harbor here in the law firm, we started doing something. I think that we are in the right way, doing day by day, but there is still a lot to do outside. So we need to keep moving. We need to keep talking. We need to have this kind of conversation. You in Europe, me here in Brazil, we need to share experience. We need to understand what's going on out there in London and what's going on here in Brazil. We cannot stay isolated. We have to share even more experience. So looking ahead, Cescon Barrieu understand that we have to keep these advances that we achieved, but we need to improve and we need to